Welcome, welcome back. So we are going to keep going. Unfortunately, my computer died, so we are just going to pick right back up. And we're going to start on number two. So we've already done number one. We've kind of done like a little recap of knowing how to move your decimals, knowing when it says of, or knowing when we say of, that means we're multiplying. And so now we're going to just apply the same thing on to number two. So here we go. Jaden is saving up to buy a new video game console that costs $299. Ooh, that's expensive. The store has a special promotion where he can get 20%, where he can get a 20% discount. So I am definitely underlining this word discount. We know we are going to be subtracting. So I'm going to put a little subtraction symbol. And I already know that this 20% equals 0.20 or either 0.2. So here we go. However, he also has to pay. That tells me we're adding a 7% sales tax on the discounted price. So we know we're working with the discounted price at this point. How much is Jaden pay in total after the discount and the tax? So for the sake of my clarity, it sounds like we're going to have like three different sections going on here. So I'm going to make like a little section over here for the first part of it, a little section over here for the second part, and then that other part will be the third and final part of it with the sales tax, okay? So we know that that 299 is going to be our original cost, okay? That 299, we need to find out what is 20% of 299. So remember, that's 299, and I'm sorry, my pen is so slow, times the 0.20, and we're just taking out the 20 or the decimal, and it's just going to be 20. Okay, so 299 times 20. So 0 times 9, 0 times 9, 0 times 2, zip zap 0. 2 times 9 is 18. Regroup my 1. 2 times 9 again, 18 plus 1 is 19. Regroup my 1. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 gives me 5. So I'm just going to add my 0 there. I forgot to zip zap 0, but when I add my 0, remember we always go from left to right, especially when we're adding and we have to regroup and all that good stuff. So anyways, we have 5980. Remember, it's not 5,980. We have to then add that decimal back. So let's go ahead and put that decimal back. It was here. We're going to move it not once, but twice, which means we start at the back here. We move it not once, but twice. And now it is $59.80. So now we know that that $59.80 is the discount. So we now need to apply the discount to the original value. So let's go back to the original. The original was $299. And I just want you to really take note whenever you're adding or subtracting decimals, they have to be in alignment. Okay, whenever you're multiplying, as you see, we can add it back at the end. But in this case, you've got to have that little stop sign, remember? So 59.80. And then we're going to subtract. If you want to mute me and subtract by yourself, please do. But if you want to subtract together, let's get it. I can actually. 0 minus 0 is 0. But I can't do 0 minus 8. I go next door, turn that into an 8. Turn this into a 10. Just put a 1 in front of it. 10 minus 8 gives me 2. 8 minus 9 can't do. Turn this into an 8 as well. Turn this into an 18. 18 minus 9 gives me 9. 8 minus 5 gives me 3. And 2 minus nothing gives me 2. So now, with the discount, the price is $239.20. So remember, as you can see, we have that little stop sign right there. $239.20 is with the discount. So now the next step is you have to pay 7% sales tax. So all we're going to do, remember, that 7% is really 0.07, right? So 0.7. So now we got to pay that tax, which is going to be the 239.20 or 0.2, whichever you want to do, because you can take off that 0 if you wanted to. But then we're going to multiply that by the 0.07 and see what we get. So here we go. This is, I'll say this, if you can put it in the calculator, put it in the calculator, it'll probably be a lot easier. But I'm going to write it out for my peeps who don't have a calculator. Try it on your own if you want to, but if you want to wait for me, here we go. So remember, we don't have to have the decimal in there when we're multiplying. So I'm just going to put 2, 0, just like that. And then 0.7, which technically you don't have to put the 0 either. We'll just put the 7. All right, so here we go. Multiplication. Let me change my color. All right, so for the first one, 7 times 0 gives me 0. 7 times 2 gives me 14. Put my 4 down, regroup my 1. 7 times 9 gives me 63 plus 1, 64. Put my 6 up at the top. 7 times 3, 21. 26, 27, 20, 27. Yep. Wait, did I say that right? 7 times 3 is 21 plus 6 gives me 27. Sorry. All right, put my 7 down, put my 2 up at the top. 7 times 2 again, 14, 15, 16. So now I have 1, 6, 4, 4, 0. Of course, we could take off the 0, so we could just remove that. And then we're going to remember we had a decimal here, right? And we have a decimal technically here, right? So let's move the decimal. So we had to move this decimal 1, 2 places here, 1, 2 places here. So this is 4 places total. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lots of counting, lots of jumping, but the decimal now ends there. What would that be, you ask? $16.74. We would round up or round down depending on the 4 beside it. Since it's a 4 beside it, we're just going to round down, keep it the same as 74. So what did we just solve for? We just figured out the sales tax, okay? So that's the 7% that we have to pay on top of the $239.20. So this is getting a little jumbled, but stick with me here. All I'm doing is I'm putting that 16.74 right here because we're just going to add. Remember, we have to add the sales tax back. Sales tax back. That's a little tongue twister. I'm just going to blank this out so it's just not too distracting, just so we won't have to see too much of it, but we know that it's still there. All right, so we have the 239.20 plus 16.74. Remember, adding and subtracting has to have alignment. So I'm putting my decimal there, and it might help to put your decimal there the first time, and then we're working it through. So 74 goes there, and then the 16 goes here. All right, we're just going to do a quick little add. 4, 7, 8, 9, 15, regroup my 1, 3, 4, 5, plus 2. So we should have 255.94 once you have the sales tax added on. So how much does Jaden pay in total after the discount and the tax? Jaden is going to pay $255.94. He better come to the store with $256 just to be on the safe side. So yeah, this is the answer, but the two parts of that answer, how much is the discount? $59.80. How much is the sales tax after the discount has been subtracted? $16.74. So I know that was a lot, but you did great. Okay, you did great. But that's what you should have gotten for this one. All right, let me clear all this out the way. Look at all of that work. And let's keep going. Let's go to number 3. And what I may do, because I know that this is technically part 2 of the first video, what I may do is I might just give you the answers, give you the answer to number 4 and 5, or maybe just number 5. Maybe we can do 3 and 4 together. Okay, so here we go. Lena goes to a restaurant and orders a meal that costs $45. She wants to leave a 20% tip based on the price of the meal, and the restaurant also charges 8% sales tax. How much will Lena pay in total, including tip and tax? So this one's a little tricky because a lot of times you're trying to figure out, does tax come first or does tip come first? But in this case, the tip is going to be what you're going to add on first. So you got to find out the 20% of the 45 because she's just paying the tip based on the meal. Okay, so this is another one where I can probably just like split it up a little bit. Let me just put my little bars there. And let me blank out the sides. Give me a little bit more space. Okay, that's probably really messy, but here we go. All right, so we're just figuring out the 20% tip from the $45. So first things first, we need to figure out what is 20%. So there goes that verbiage again. What is 20% of 45? So we're going to first do 45 times 20%, which is 0.20. And remember, we can take out that decimal. We just leave it there. I think I have like a decimal floating up there. Let me fix that. So we're just going to take out that decimal. So here we go. 0 times, let me put my line. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Then we're going to zip, zap, 0. Put a 0 in the ones column. 2 times 5 is 10. Regroup my 1. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 gives me 9. So I have 900. But remember, putting my decimal back and having to move it 2 places is going to be 9. Okay. As you can see, there's where my 9 ends up. So now we take that $9 and remember, that's the tip. That's how much she's tipping the waitress on top of her 45. So we're going to just do a quick little 45 plus 9. And what does that give us? 54. Okay. So we know that she's going to have to pay $54 with the tip. But she gets up to the front and they're going to say, oh, now you have the 8% sales tax. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the sales tax, that 8% to the 54 to figure out how much to add back to that 54. So here we go. We're doing 54 times 8, and I'm just using the 54 that I have here. Okay, it might look a little crazy for a second, but I'm just using the 54 here. So we're multiplying it by 8. 8 times 4 is 32. Put down my 2, regroup my 3. 8 times 5 is 40, plus 3 gives me 43. So I have 432, and that is the sales tax. Remember, I had a 0 here because this is 8% and a decimal here. So I would have moved that, boom, boom, 2 places. Move it again, boom, boom, 2 places. $4.32. That is the sales tax. That is 8% of that 54. Now we have to add that $4.32 back to the 54. So here we go. We're doing 54 plus the $4, which gives me 58, and then plus the 32-cent gives me $58.32. I didn't write the 0.32 here, so that 0.32 is kind of floating. Apologies. So we have $58.32 is what she's going to pay, including the $9 of tip, including the $4.32 of tax. So final answer for Lena, she better have $59 when she goes to the restaurant. Wonder what she got to eat. A little expensive. All right, let's keep going. I'm still trying to decide if we're going to do number 4. So, you know what? Let's just do number 4 together. Let's do number 4 together, and then I'll just give you the answer for number 5, but I'll give you some time. But remember, this is also your video. Pause it here. Do number 4 without me saying a word, and then you can play it when you're ready, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to number 4. I'm just going to create a little bit of extra space right here really quickly. Always that one piece. Okay, number 4. A store is selling a pair of shoes originally priced at $120. The store marks up. There's one of them words. Look, I want you to start calling them words out as soon as you see them. Markup means they're going to be more expensive. Marks up the price by 15% and then applies a 25% discount. Oh my goodness. That's subtraction on the new price. What is the final cost of the shoes after the markup and the discount? So remember, this is kind of like a little seesaw. You mark it up and then you discount it. I'm like, why couldn't y'all just give the 10% discount? Because that would even out the two. But here we go. We're gonna do all the work that's involved. So we're gonna split it up. Just give me a little bit of space. Kind of like helps my brain kind of keep everything organized. Okay, so the original price is 120, but they mark it up 15% of that 120. So we're gonna have to do 120, and I'm just putting some ample space between my numbers, times the 15%. Remember, 15% is 0.15, and then when we take out the decimal, it's just 15. All right, so 5 times 0, 0. 5 times 2 is 10. Put down my 0, regroup my 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 gives me 6. Now it's time to zip, zap, 0. I'm going to change my color and put a 0 in the 1's place. 0 times 1, 0. 1 times 2, 2. 1 times 1 is 1. And then we're going to add. Have 0, 0. 6 plus 2 is 8. And then 1 plus nothing is 1. That is not in alignment. Apologies in advance. All right, so of course you're going to be like, oh, 1800. That's not right, right? Because we had a decimal in front of this little, sorry, I just put a decimal in a random spot there. Right there. 1, 2, you move it over 2 places. 1, 2, you move it over 2 places here. So they're going to mark it up $18. Man, crazy. So we're going to take this and pull it up here, and we're going to do the 120 plus the $18 is going to give us 138. So now it's like, oh gosh, they marked it up. Now I have to pay $138. Man, but he goes to the front of the line, or whoever goes to the front of the line, and now there's a 25% discount. So now we need to figure out what is 25% of the 138. We got to take the 25% of that away. So we're going to do the same thing. And I know my numbers are kind of bunched up here, but bear with me. I'm just using the same numbers. We're going to multiply it by 25% or 0.25 or just 25 because we're taking off the decimal. 5 times 8 is going to give me 40. Put down the 0, regroup the 4. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 4 is 19. Put down the 9, regroup the 1. 5 times 1, 5, 6. And then we're going to zip, zap, 0. I'm going to change my color. Zip the 1 and 4, zap the 5, 0 in the 1's column. 2 times 8 is going to give me 16. Put down the 6, regroup my 1. 2 times 3, 6, 7, and 2 times 1 is 2. Now it is time to add. Remember, we're going to go from left to right. 0, 15, regroup my 1. 7 plus 7 is 14. Regroup my 1, 3. So you should have 3, 4, 5, 0. Okay? But what are we forgetting? The decimal. Don't forget about that decimal. We got to put that decimal back. So it was there. We moved it twice up here, which means we move it twice down here. So it's really $34.50. But remember, this is a discount, which means are we adding or are we subtracting? We're subtracting. If you said subtracting, you are correct. But remember, we had that 138 because that's with the $18 markup. Now we need to take off 34.50. Whenever you are subtracting or adding decimals, you have to have them in alignment. Okay, so we're just going to put the 0.00 there because we have to have this in alignment. Put my next decimal there. Put your decimals down first if that helps. So I know that the 50 goes there, the 4 has to go here, and the 3 has to go here. Put your decimals in alignment. Now let's subtract because remember, this is a discount. We're taking away. So here we go. 0 minus 0, 0. I can't do 0 minus 5, so I'm going to have to go next door, turn that into a 7, turn this into a 10. 10 minus 5 gives me 5. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. And 1 minus nothing gives me 1. So I have $103.50. It says, what is the final cost of the shoes after the markup and the discount? So it marked up and then came back down. That means it's going to be $103.50. So whoever's coming to the store for them shoes needs to have $104. Make sure you got enough. So the final answer for that is $103.50. Okay, I'm going to say this. I would love for you to give number 5 a try, and I'm going to just tell you the answer to it. I'm just going to tell you like the steps of it. But I'm not going to like work out the long elaborate because you could probably do it with ease. But let's just go ahead and talk it out. So a bike shop is having a sale where all bikes are marked down by 30%. There's a word, marked down. Okay, so underline that. Marked down by 30%. We're subtracting. Marked down. Right? James buys a bike originally priced at $450. However, after the discount, he has to pay 6% sales tax. How much does James pay for the bike after applying both the discount and the tax? So let's just talk this one out. We need to figure out, so they're doing the markdown, but the price is originally $450. So you have to do the 450 times the 30% of the markdown, which is 0.30. So with the 450 times 0.30, you should get 135, right? And then the discounted price is that what you're taking away. So now you're doing 450 minus, because it's discounted, the 135, which gives you 315. So from there, you're stuck with 315, and you need to figure out what 6% of 315 is so you can take that and add it back to your number to pay the sales tax. So remember, that's 315 times 0.06, and you should get $18.90. After you get that $18.90, you're going to add that back, because that's the sales tax. You're going to add that back to your 315, which then will leave you with $333.90. So again, you've got to figure out what that percentage is. Like whenever it says 6% of or 6% of, that is multiplication to pull that percentage from that larger number. And then from there, you're able to either add or subtract, whether it says markup, discount, coupon, anything like that that tells you that you're getting money off, or either they're adding more money. Sales tax is usually one of those that tell us that we're going to have to add more money. Then you can figure out what you're going to get. So the biggest part is multiplying and then figuring out if you're adding or subtracting, because you're going to multiply to figure out what that percentage is. Well, if you have stuck with me this long, I appreciate you so, so very much. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully you'll be back for the next video. I hope this helped a little bit, even if it was just like one word or one sentence that I may have said that maybe clicked a little extra firm. But remember, this type of math takes practice. You have to practice it without a tutor, without your mom and dad, without a teacher, without any help. These are the things that you have to practice on your own. And I'm going to say this, it doesn't sound like fun, but practice doesn't have to look like 2 hours of grueling work where you're just sitting there and, oh, I'm so tired of it. That's one problem, two problems a day. Do a little bit of multiplication. Even if you're just working on one part of this, can I figure out what is 18% of 300? Can I figure out what is 12% of 39? That kind of stuff is practice. So continue to practice. Remember that you're doing awesome. Okay. You're doing awesome. And I'm so glad that you came to join me. But, anyways, I will let you go. And I hope that you will join me for the next one. So, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to like the video. And I'll see you next time. Bye.